Alright guys, what is going on? Oink here, and in today's video I'm going to be bringing you what is my first podium finish in the WRS. Of course, most of you know now that I race in the weekly race series, and I've been live streaming these, so this event was live streamed, and I thought I'd just sort of commentate sort of a little highlight for them from the first stint, because it was a fun race. We're racing Ferrari F40s on Monza, no chicane, as you can see as we pass straight through the chicane there. I qualified in second. This was the North America race, so for those of you who haven't been at any of the streams, there's two races every Wednesday, one earlier on at 8 o'clock GMT and one at about 2 in the morning GMT, but I normally just do the EU slot, but I didn't have work the next morning, so I figured I'd go along to the NA race. And so this is the North American race, which is why there's less people. It seems to be the case that there's usually a few less people in the American time slot. So it's a six driver race, and I managed to qualify second, which was nice. Definitely, having been to the first race and had a bit more race time, a bit more practice, and a bit of experience actually doing the full 31 laps. That definitely gives you an advantage in the second race, and it definitely helped me here. Anyway, I qualified second in behind Gunas, who's extremely quick. Definitely, I would say, quicker than myself. But I kind of figured I'd do my best to hang on to the slipstream. I didn't think I'd do as well as I did. I don't know if he was a little off his preferred pace, or if I was just, you know, driving particularly well that night. But I managed to keep onto the battle for the whole of the first stint, so it was a great battle. And so I'm going to show some highlights. Here's the end of the first lap. Now, these guys are not easy to drive. They're stock tuning, so there wasn't any tuning allowed. I think we're on the Sport Soft tyres, if I remember correctly, and the tyre wear and fuel wear is set on fast. Now I get the first overtake into first place after lap 2. It says lap 3, but of course there was a formation lap at the start, so we're actually on race lap 2, so total lap 3. And I managed to pass him in the slipstream. Now this track, because it's so fast, for the most part there's not that many opportunities for passing around the actual track unless someone really makes a mistake and leaves a big gap. So most of the passing was done on this final straight. So you see here, coming into the end of lap 3, Gunas again gets in the draft and overtakes me back to reclaim first place in the very next lap. And that's generally how it went, sort of lap after lap. We'd stay pretty close in battles, stay in each other's slipstream, whoever's behind, and then usually get a pass coming down that back straight. This time you see Gunas generally has a slightly later braking point and then comes down the outside of the corner. I was tending to brake earlier and come through the inside of the corner there. It just felt a little bit safer. With these cars, if you just clip the grass on the outside by even the slightest amount, you probably would end up spinning the car. It was really dangerous. And as you can see, so, you know, just really making sure to keep the car on the track as much as possible, and even just putting the accelerator down a bit too hard would find that. So coming into Ascari here, this second race I really managed to get up onto the curb on the right hand side coming into the second half of that turn, and I think that probably was shaving a few tenths off my time compared to the first race. I think I finished, if I remember correctly, I think it was like 5th or 6th I finished in the first race, so not quite as good as this race. Obviously there was more people in that race, so it was harder competition, but as you can see again, so the very next lap here, still in the draft from Gunas there, and I managed to pull off the overtake down the straight and then back in front coming in for lap 5 here. In various places we kind of each, you know, lose a little bit of time, so you can see I break away just a very slight bit coming out there, but you know, it's the draft just brings it back. Every little straight you just bring it back. Now here I don't know if I'm not quite sure, but I would presume that Gunas probably made the wrong decision in overtaking me on this straight before Parabolica at the very end there, because that allowed me then to use the draft on the start finish line straight, this very final straight. I actually managed to pass him back, so I think this was the first lap where at the end of the lap the race leader hadn't changed, because you can see there I managed to take him back straight away. So maybe he was just doing that so that he would have draft for the next lap as well, I don't know, or perhaps he probably would have rather have stayed behind me and then make the overtake the very next lap. And actually, as you see here, this is at the end of that lap, he actually goes for the bump draft. So instead of making the overtake like he did last time, he goes for the bump draft. We head a little bit quicker down that back straight. He stays just behind me, and then coming out of Parabolica, he just stays in the draft, waits just sort of 100 meters down the track, and then gets back into the draft and brings the overtake at the end of that lap. So it was kind of a lot of decision making as to when best to use draft for the overtake, or when just to stay nicely tucked in behind. At the same time, of course, there was a bit of dirty air, you know, just the braking points were slightly off, and turn-ins were, you know, a little bit different. You'll see here, so Gunas generally took that one a bit wider, I took it a bit narrower down the inside, and that will actually pay off on the next lap, because you can see I'm well, back in front here, and there you see I'm braking slightly earlier, and so I guess Gunas wasn't quite expecting it. That might have been slightly too early. I might have hit my braking point just a tad too early on that one, and well, it basically meant that he ended up running slightly into the back of me. Fortunately, it wasn't too costly for either of us. It did send me a little bit further ahead, but you know, after not the best turn through the little chicane there, and then also I missed both my turn-ins through Lesmo 1, as you can see there, hit that one very wide, and also actually into Lesmo 2, I believe I braked a little bit late, didn't get back on the power quick enough, and so he actually made back all the ground after just at the end of Lesmo there. So that bump really didn't have a negative effect, which is fortunate. It would have been pretty frustrating for both of us had either of us gotten off, obviously. That would have been disappointing. So fortunately that was, you know, just a minor incident, but having caught up the ground, Gunas runs a little bit wide coming through Ascari there, and actually managed to break away from him. For about the first time in the race, I think, I was outside of his draft, and I think again for the first time in the race there was no overtake on the final back straight there, and I managed to keep my lead going into lap 9. But of course he did manage to get back into the draft coming down the straight, and so immediately, you know, he's back straight tucked in behind me. And back in the draft, end of lap 9, you can see he's already back on my bumper. So this really was a close battle. We're already coming to the end of lap 9, so you can see we're half fuel already. Tyres are about half already as well, so they're starting to wear a little bit. Grip is slowly running out. And for a 3-stopper, obviously if you're just doing a standard divide by 3, we're going to be looking at a lap 10 or a lap 11 pit from here. I was heading for a lap 11 pit, and you'll see how this pans out in the end for me. Sadly, not in a good way. But as you can see here, Gunas makes the pass on lap 10 down the straight as usual, gets ahead of me, and this is one of the most intense moments. You can see here he brakes probably just a bit too late. I brake in early, and I just fly through the inside there. That is one of the scariest overtakes to make, because it's just like, if you get that wrong, you're both going to be on the beach, and it's just going to be an absolute nightmare. So that was really, really intense, but a really awesome pass at the same time. That was great fun. Anyway, Gunas there short pits me. I noticed him, he cut off wide into the pits. I was heading for a lap 11, he went for a lap 10, and at the end of the day my racing experience isn't as good as his, and I just decided to stick to my race plan. And I ended up second in this race. He beat me. I think I was about 10 seconds behind at the end, and then I came off the track and ended up sort of 15 seconds or 20 seconds behind. But it was really close, actually. Really enjoyable race. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that bit of commentary and replay. Yeah, definitely check out the streams, basically. This is a cool little advertisement for my streams. Every Wednesday in the evenings, I put up videos and announcements for it. So, yeah, why not come along? It's really great fun. And you know, get stuck in, and I hope you guys see you there. So peace out, and I'll catch you soon.